Hello everyone. Me and Sephyr are gonna be the one who's teaching about the jumping fundamentals for sixes. Uh, as you all know, not every not every single jump technique with is applicable in sixes. So we're gonna be actually going over what's gonna be most useful to you and what's the most practical for you guys.
What is this?
Save your questions for later. So first of all, I'm Owlfy. Uh, I am platinum soldier and like general consultant for Jump Fortress. I have one world record, which is featured in TF2 RJ Weekly. The name is Jump Lego Croc. I have a couple of top tens, but yeah, I my highest completion is tier 7, and yeah, that's about it. How about you, Saphir?
I am rank 79 soldier, platinum, aka Division 2. I'm also a general consultant for Jump Fortress, but I do not have any world records anymore. I've had some in the past, but I also have played quite a lot of sixes competitively, and I've played Div 1 for the Australian League. But yeah, I'm happy to be here to teach the basics to people who want to learn.
Hmm. So what? Let's start this off. What doesn't really matter that much, but if you are gonna be jumping, then you will be encountering these types of techniques such as bounces, edge bugs. More double sinks are you will be having some practical uses for double sinks like bomb sinking a medic or for example, but up to more than 3+ sinks aren't really that much useful for you. Wall pogo, pre-fire, and typically most tier 5+ maps are gonna be like advanced like pre-fires and stuff like that, which you don't really need to. But what does matter? Strafing, wall shots, pogo, C taps, ramp shots, speed shots, wall bugs, double sinks, and sticky jumping. Just as a reminder, I will try to post this slide and classroom announcement, so you don't have to really take any notes. But yeah, uh, Sephyr will take over what strafing actually is. Oh wait, no, how to get started first. My bad. Uh, strafing.
Okay. Strafing is basically a technique to turn yourself midair by pressing A and D or moving your mouse in the direction of movement key. And what this means is basically it's a very fundamental part of moving. It can be a bit basic when you've played plenty of games before, especially movement games, but in TF2, especially in sixes on Soldier, strafing is a complete necessity, and understanding the way of moving your characters by basically moving your A key while you're moving left and AD while you're moving right to be able to move the way your character wants to move, get where you want to get as fast as possible. Um, we have maps recommended for each of the sections on this, but I would suggest maybe looking at them afterwards, not trying to like write them down or anything. Jump Academy is always a really safe bet for if you would like to practice base level things, but I think you can only get so far with the fundamentals playing only Jump Academy, and we would recommend playing on Tempest servers and playing maps that we recommend as well. Obviously, if you want to play certain maps, there's usually a good place to ask would be in the Jump Fortress Discord server. Ask around what maps you think would be good to play, that sort of thing. We'll have links and stuff for resources at the end of the lecture. But yeah, moving on from strafing, all shots. This one is going to be your bread and butter, your way of moving when you're not on the ground. It's by using a wall to propel yourself with your rockets. Basically, anywhere that has a wall, you can imagine it as being a way of moving your character wherever you want to go. So if you're, let's say, wanting to get into second on process, a very basic map that I feel like a lot of people should be familiar with or will get familiar with if they haven't played much sixes. But the idea of wall shots is to be able to get where you want to go as fast as possible. A lot of sacks and ways of moving from point to point are based on wall shots, usually based off the momentum you shoot from the ground. Uh, Everywhere on every map will have spots for you to wall shot. I'd recommend maybe even like loading into any map whatsoever, snake water, gully wash, thinking about the way you want to move the map around the map and using the walls to get where you would like to go. This one's a very basic one on process. You for if you want to high bomb is this wall here, using this one as a wall shot, or even this wall here. Very, very good. Um, okay, next. Pogo. Pogos are a little bit less applicable when it comes to general gameplay. There's always going to be room for you to be pogoing around for conserving momentum without touching the ground. It's basically the idea of keeping yourself up with your rockets while moving around across the floor.
Can you repeat that? Your mic cut out for like 10 seconds or
Sorry
so.
about that. I'll just restart. Basically, it's just fundamental way of keeping your momentum by shooting rockets at the ground whilst traveling. And the way that players normally incorporate this is like sacks like this. This is a good rollout to practice. This, when I first started playing, I learnt this pogo really quickly. Is this pogo here for this for the rollout and process? It can be kind of finicky to start with, especially when you're learning core fundamentals and strafing. But there's also good maps like Rainbow Road is a very, very good pogo map. If you want to learn pogo, I would suggest playing that one. But yeah, it's just a way of gaining and keeping momentum whilst traveling. Next. C-taps. This is a little bit different. It's not so cut and dry as the rest of the techniques, but C-taps is basically a bug where you crouch and uncrouch and jump while uncrouching as a way to lower your hitbox. And the lower your hitbox is, the more knockback you get from your rockets. So if I was to jump like normally, I only get like so much height. But if I was to C-tap by using crouch and then uncrouching, I gain a lot more height. And it there is scripts for this. Depending on which league you play in, I know some CTAP scripts are either banned or unbanned. In the league I play in, you can use any CTAP script for Fortress, but it's also a technique that you can kind of just use anywhere. Anyway, anytime you can jump off of the floor, you can always CTAP, get a little bit of extra momentum. You'll notice a stark difference from when you start hitting CTAPs consistently and when compared to when you're just normally jumping around the map. Um, the reason why I think C-taps can be so fundamental and can put you at a level above other players is just because it gives you, it basically unlocks the ability for you to make it to places that other soldiers can't and get higher in the air when you're bombing, go even faster, get to places unexpectedly. I think C-taps are something that can be super frustrating when trying to learn, but are a core of like fundamental thing that you need to be able to. Typically made for training. it would definitely put you a cut above the rest who aren't doing it. All right, next. Uh, uh, fundamental as the others. Ramp shots being extremely fundamental for gaining momentum and demo when they're rolling out as well. It's good for sacks. Most maps that have a ramp usually get utilized in some way when you're playing sixes to roll out and then roll it again. Say frustrating but very powerful technique, which is where you shoot the floor at the same time as you land, kind of like a Pogo, because it's a bit finicky. There's a speed shot there. So it's kind of like right as you touch the ground, you shoot and you'll gain some height and it'll allow you to wall shot, pogo, do whatever you need. It's an extreme momentum gain from every time you hit a speed shot. I wouldn't suggest trying to go for it too often because they can be quite inconsistent. Some things don't require a speed shot. Like if you were to roll out through IT, I think this would just require a simple pogo. Um, Usually a pogo can get what you need done instead of a speed shot, but it's definitely something that will come up in a lot of jump maps that you'll be playing. It can be frustrating to begin with, but it's extremely rewarding, in my opinion, to learn timing on speed shots. Wall bugs. This is something that I love playing with when I first started playing sixes. I found it extremely interesting. I'll just do a command here. A good way to show how wall bugs work is basically a way of getting stuck in angled geometry. The walls such as these that are like 90-degree angles that you can not get stuck on, but these walls here that are at an angle that you can see, if you hold W and then press A and D while looking at certain angles, you can get stuck on walls in midair. This is more of a niche technique that I wouldn't suggest like using too often. It can be kind of finicky. There's many spots that you can utilize it. Here above door 2 is a really good one. There's a tiny little wall bug you can do here. Very, 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 very powerful. Just gets stuck right here. But they can, this is also quite a finicky technique. I'd suggest loading up maps that are in the competitive pool and taking a look at where you can imagine would be good spots where angled walls are. There are many on lots of the maps that you'll find, uh, but this technique doesn't show up nearly as much as all the other core fundamental ones, and which is when it comes to playing sixes and also when it comes to jump maps. Sinks are quite the opposite when it comes to jump maps. They are bundling two rockets together as a way of gaining momentum is extremely like you'll see it a billion times when you're playing jump maps, but you will hardly see it too often when you're playing sixes. So a good example of like a good sync would be, let's say hypothetically you're playing a Huron process and you think that the enemy team is going to walk through choke after they've capped middle or something like that. A classic bomb would be to be stand here, C tap, bull shot, and then sync rocket right on top of the medic or demo or whatever. Usually in jump, it has nothing to do with the sixes actually killing any targets. It's usually just for learning how to gain forward momentum and height, but it can be extremely important when trying to do large amounts of burst damage to a target, like right here, sinking on top of a demo. That'll insta kill him on rollout when he doesn't have full HP. The sinks can be extremely versatile, but they are much more niche and more map dependent when it comes to this, like the sixes compared to jump. Oh yeah, I think that's it for sinks as well. Sticky jumping, but I love sticky jumping. Um, this is a bit different. Sixes for Demoman. I'd say a good way of thinking about it is Demoman spends a little amount of time in the air compared to Soldier. Soldier's supposed to be in the air quite a lot and using their momentum for gaining speed, especially when the gunboats just make it so you don't have to chunk all of your health trying to get around. But single stickies is just your classic bread and butter. You'd not like a normal rollout, or if you're trying to get anywhere, placing a sticky on the ground and jump crouch deading. It's it's usually what you do while you're like rolling out on any map. There'll be single stickies that you'll need to be using. This one over here, some people like to put it on the floor, some people like to put it on the side of the door. It's kind of just preference. A good way of practicing it is just getting into certain maps and practicing them on both Tempest and in just competitive maps like Process, like this one. It would be my suggestion. Double stickies is usually for sacks. I wouldn't really have any like rollout or anything for double stickies. It chunks weight. Sorry, not for sacks. Let me take it back on that one. For Ubers, uh, for Ubers especially because you chunk so much of your health eating the damage from both of the stickies. Usually, two sticks are specific for Ubers for you to get in as fast as physically possible to catch out the enemy team. I wouldn't really see double stickies anywhere else. Um, Prees are basically just when it's kind of like a pogo for like a soldier where you shoot a sticky in front of you um, to keep your forward momentum going. Prees can be very good for getting in sacks quite quickly, surprising people through doorways that you wouldn't expect them to expect. They wouldn't expect you to be able to go through. They can be paired with the next thing, which is crouch deaths, which is a way of getting forward momentum, but slightly lower. Crouch deaths is just when you walk forward into your sticky and before you hold crouch, and it should give you low but high, low height but good forward momentum. It's a good way of getting through doorways that you normally wouldn't be able to get through. It's also a fundamental part of just being able to control your character's height. Sticky jumping, obviously not as important in my opinion as soldier jumping. If you were to be a top demo man, I don't think you need to know how to jump particularly well. Compared to how much I think you need to be able to jump really, really well on soldier when you're playing at a high level. As I said, you spend like 90% of the game in the air on soldier. You spend like 5% of the game in the air on demo man. Um, Anyways, yeah, next. You can take over this one, Alfie. Talk about.
Mm. Yeah, there's a couple of resources for you guys to practice on, mainly Jump Academy, which is that's the Jump Academy 2 map, which is has a lot of the techniques that we just learned, like wall shots, pogos. They even have the easy strafe on, for example. And but also if you want to take up to the next level, and then you can go over to the Jump Fortress Discord. We can ask around and we offer coaching, one-on-one coaching, for example. And you basically can just like ask around and you'll get some help. Uh, After that, the service that we play on is on the Tempest network, which has a leaderboard. So if you want to test yourselves against the best, you can join up and load a map and play on it. Also, the East Coast Jump, which is the another server network for jumpers, if you want to use that. But also, Momentum Mod. Right now, uh, right now, Momentum Mod is free to play. You just have to and has a lot of the maps that are good. And also, it's like offline and 5 ping, so that you can. So if you don't want to play on jump on like 100 ping, for example, or you have your bad internet, you could go on to the momentum mod in order to play and in order to practice jump. Some other websites or resources for you to learn where the maps are tempestplaza.com to find maps, for example, which Sephyr is trying to loading up right now, and some tutorials like Fire Cyber on YouTube. Very good tutorials on how to do jump maps on Jump Academy. And yeah, we'll put up the links later at uh, we'll put up the links later at the class announcements. So other than that, any questions so far?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, will you post all of the links to whatever server and other things for soldier rollouts on the maps?
Not particularly. I could show you rollouts on how to do it. Uh, and it is kind of widespread. If you can go over any sort of demo on any high level above main, for example, they will do the rollouts correctly.
Okay.
So I can show you it right now if you want any particular rollout you want to know.
I was just wondering how to practice them myself. Are all of the methods mentioned available on what was it, Jump Academy?
Not particularly, but I could show you how to practice them by yourself.
Okay.
Is that if you go up in game and load up the console, you can go over to which map you want to go. Like for example, what map do you want to go practice the rollout on?
Snake water.
Snake Water, Snake Water Final 1. Go and then you load up the map offline. And it's gonna take a while. And once you get into the server, the fuck is taking so long?
Yeah, I had this problem before. It should be fine. Yeah.
Okay. Once you get into the server, you go over to console again, type in SV Cheats 1, MP Tournament so that you don't have to deal with the timer, and then hurt me minus whatever number, big number, so that you don't really have to worry about health. And here you can practice it all out whatever you want.
Cool. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Right. Any other questions?
I had a quick question about C-tapping.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys use any special binds for it, or do you just do match?
There's not that much of a special bind. For me specifically, I use manual C-taps, which means I do it manually every single time. But I have rebound my shift key for it to crouch so that it makes it easier to
Yep.
C-tap. I've heard some people use the mouse 2 button. So you can try whenever you like, and then it will help. But
Cool, thank
there
you.
are some legal scripts that RGL uses. I know RGL banned the one tick one, and there, but I would recommend you learning how to do it manually uh, so that you can fundamentally learn what the timing is. Yeah,
Cool, thank you.
okay? Any other questions? All right, I guess that's it for now. We'll be
I should mention, if you want some specific help, you can DM me if you want to talk about this in further detail. I'll help you as much as I can, but yeah, just my recommendation is just looking at the resources that we're going to post in chat later and figuring out what the way you want to go about learning, whether that be sixes or jump. We can help you with that either way. But yeah,
Mhm.
My DMs are open. I'll get back to you as fast as I feel like doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also open for any sort of mentoring thing I can help you do with. I do both. I can do jump and sixes because I play both. So like yeah.
Exactly. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. On the Roamer Gully Wash rollout, it's a very quick and simple rollout. It's just the 3 rockets to get to Big Door. Is there anything special you like to do with that rollout? Because it feels very simple.
I mean, there's not much that is required from Gully Wash because it is such a compact map, and the rollout you go through Big Door. That means, uh, I mean, it's not really that much special. There are a couple of variations you could do, I guess. I'll
Is
try to
this like? Do you want
get
me to
it
do
up.
it? Because I have Gully Wash open.
I also have Gully Wash open, so
Oh
like,
shit! My bad. My bad. My bad.
I mean, yeah, you do a wall shot on there, on that side. You Pogo, you rebuff, and then you go here. And then at this site, you can do whatever you want. So, there is a special rollout. Let me see if I can hit it. Where you go over in this and land on their big door really, really fast. But it's probably inconsistent at best. Also do this one so you can go through their drop down early enough so that you can spam them early and play for this drop down, do little mind games, threatening this sort of drop down area. You can also do that. Get so there's also the Bashi rollout where if you ever heard of Bashi do this rollout, you basically be able to at the start you shoot four rockets all to yourself, and then once you get over here, you try to jump over here, and then with your remaining health, you be able to go up to their choke faster than their demo. But be careful not to use it this much because it is a little bit inconsistent. And if their demo hears you rolling out that way, he can preemptively be able to sticky you off. It's much more as a surprise and gimmicky play, in my opinion. Does that answer your question?
Yes, very much. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Any other questions? Oh yeah. Sorry, you
I
could go
think
up here.
I
Yeah.
think we're probably good then.
We'll post the links later. And yeah. Thank you so much for attending our class. Have a wonderful day.
Thank